It's Finish It Friday. I'm stitching it my way. Just wanna be sitting with needles and knitting. Hello, hello, all my yarn lovers and fiber artists. That's right, my friends. It is once again time for another Finish It Friday. And if you are a returning viewer, you know what that is in the crafting community. That's just show and tell in the crafting community. So get your beverage, get your project, come on in, say hello in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from and, of course, what your latest FO finished object or finished project is, right? Did you just finish knitting a scarf, crocheting a blanket? We want to know too, because, hey, we want to celebrate your accomplishments too. So, okay, my friends, well, it is October 31st, and guess what? Yes, the spiderweb top made it. Let me tell y'all, I had my doubts about this thing. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I had pictured to do, this collar at the top. I was like, how am I gonna do that, right? I knew we had to finish it off with like these little chains, right? These little chains, yeah. So let's talk about it from the very beginning. I was just doing some little spiderweb granny squares, right? Got a spiderweb granny square in the back, in the front. Worked up on a 5mm crochet hook. The yarn is the Knit Picks We Crochet Brava Baby DK. It's just like the same. It's 100% acrylic, machine washable, just like the Brava Bulky, but in a DK way. It is brand new to the Brava line, so of course I had to get some this summer. And I was like, perfect time, plan a Halloween project, right? So we have that in the gray at the bottom. Once we finished our granny squares, we just did a couple of rounds of what are called stabilizing stitches, right? Put some single crochets in there to kind of square them out, pull them together. And then, of course, we added some half double crochets to get the two sides to where they could meet together, right? To where they would fit around me, right? Out of my pursing. Then I seamed them together. I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not very good at seaming stuff. I'm not very good at sewing, but we managed it. And then we just did some more half double crochets around to kind of just stabilizing stitches. Okay, so that's all that is, just crochet granny squares and then single crochets and half double crochets seamed together. And then, of course, I've done this on many projects. You've seen me go from crochet to knit. I do have a video where I explain how I do that, right? How I go into the stitch from the back loop, front to back, pick it up. I used a US size 7mm or 4.5, or US size 7 knitting needle, 4.5mm. Now this time I did something interesting that I've never done before, and I actually think I like it. I went into the back loop and then down into that third loop and picked that up from there onto the knitting needles. And I am using black. If you are visually impaired by it, like myself, I did switch colors to the black. And by the way, if I didn't introduce myself yet, hi, my name is May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies. And I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, and completely colorblind. So I mostly knit and crochet by feel. So then we switched it up to, I did a couple of rounds on the 7, switched it up to a US size 6 or a 4mm needle. And that's what you saw me working on for a couple of days, Mondays with May, a Whip Wednesday, right? We just did some plain old knitting till we got to the top. And then I decided to do some crochet. I wanted to finish it off with some garter stitch. So we have a couple of rounds of garter stitch. And then instead of doing a bind off, I just decided to crochet off the top, tried it on, picked out exactly where I wanted the placement of my straps, put some stitch markers there, and then marked those places off, right? So I knew where I wanted my straps. And then, oh my goodness, one of them already came undone. OMG, that was my big problem. So I'm gonna have to retie that. But okay, that was what was happening. This does work. I did have it on. I promise I will definitely get it back on. But that is the one thing you do have to be careful about, is these little straps do sometimes come undone. So what did I do with the straps? That's right. So the straps, and so once I did the crochet on the top, I then wanted to add these little loops, right? So that they'd be easy to get crochet into, and I wanted a much finer yarn for that. So I have been looking in my stash for this Gala Premier. This is a metallicized polyester. It's a #2 sport weight yarn. It's a pretty thin, it's a pretty fine yarn. It is black and silver, and I used a hook probably bigger than recommended for this. I used my 4.25 G hook on that. I will have to do one more chain on that. I'm really sad about that. I just had this on, tried it on. So I will do that though. I'll fix this. I'll do another chain and get it right back attached to there. So anyways, so what I did for the collar then is I had to do the collar first with the Gala Premier yarn. I did half double crochets with that, right? I just did about 50. I started the first time I did it at about 60. I ended up, I think, going back. Okay, this was a sad story I mentioned, right? I did this whole collar the first time, 60 stitches around, and then had all these chains attached, right? I picked out my points, my stabilizing points for the chains, front and back, and then I had them all chained up, right? I had them tied, which is obviously, I didn't get this last one tied. Had them all tied on there. And then I was cutting all of my threads. And guess what? Yeah, somebody who's visually impaired, cut their thread in the wrong place. Yeah, I did. I cut it. And not only did I cut one of my, I kind of had to experiment with the chains. I think I ended up doing, I think the first time I tried doing the chains, I had about 15, 18, and that ended up being too long, right? To where it pulled down to where, in my opinion, it showed just a little too much in the front, a little too much cleavage, wasn't holding up where I wanted it to be. So that meant I had to go back, cut all those chains off, right? And then redo them. And that's where I had issues. I was cutting off those old chains, and I cut into the collar that I just made. Yeah. So I had to go back and redo this whole top piece. That was my issue. That's why this top was not here the other week. Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. The top was, when I did my finisher Friday the other week, when you saw the shell and trellis skirt, the top was done. It was almost done until I went to trimming this up. And then I, as somebody who is visually impaired, went to cut these strands, did some cutting, and well, I can't really see what I'm doing anymore. And I did completely cut one of these little, I don't know what you call them, like these little web tie, these little strands of these little chains. They're just chains, right? They're just plain old crochet chains. I'll fix that. Crochet chains, basically, right, with the Gala, the sparkle. So I just started by putting my chains into the loops, right? We just crocheted into the loop, made the chain, and then connected it to the loops at the bottom of the collar. So the collar is, you definitely want to secure those really tight, right? You would not want to be out for Halloween or any other function and have a wardrobe malfunction like that. So you definitely want to double check all of your ties, make sure they're secure. But this little collar is just, it's like maybe 3 rounds of half double crochets over maybe 56, 58 stitches, something like that. Goes around the neck, pull that over, and then get your arms into these little holes. Now the other thing I probably should have done was maybe space these armholes out just a little bit more, because I got kind of big arms. I used to lift weights a lot in the gym. Okay, I got some big arms, got some big shoulders, so it's a little bit tight. That's probably, I just had this on to try it on and make sure it fit, and I was definitely like going, oh, I got my arms a little too tight, right? I should have moved those over. So that's probably what happened to this particular chain. It's probably me like moving my arms around going, it's kind of a tight fit. Yeah, probably was what happened there. So, but I did just have it on. Super happy with how it came out. Okay, I am. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the concept of it. I'm happy with the spider webs. I'm happy with, really happy with sort of how the top ended up coming out, right? How the this collar came out, because I've been envisioning something like this for a while, right? Like with a collar and then like chains or something coming off of it. That's something I pictured for a while, doing the top of that design, and I just couldn't quite make the image in my mind happen with, right? Like I just couldn't quite figure out how to do it, right? Like I had the concept in my head for a while, and I've made a lot of tops this summer. You've seen me working on them, but I was like, you know, how is that going to work out? Well, you absolutely can do it. I would definitely try though using these finer yarns and threads for the collar and for the chains. I like this Gala Premier. I do. I don't know. I didn't know what it was going to be like when I started using it. I don't know if I'd make just a solid garment with it or not. I carry it along with another yarn. I do something like this to accent, right? Like this chain, like the trim, these little loops. These little loops are literally, you just go into your loop, into your stitch, right? You single crochet, you chain 3, and then you single crochet into your next stitch, chain 3, single crochet into the next stitch. That's it. And I really like that trim. And I'm already thinking of other projects and other ways I can take that exact same concept, right? That exact same concept, and trim up some other projects with that. Maybe more clothing, maybe some skirts, maybe some decor for the holidays. We don't know, but you just know I love that idea. So bracelets, like jewelry, necklaces, I don't know. So much potential with this, but I really like the way that it trimmed up this top, and I'm definitely going to figure out ways that I can use it to trim up other tops, right? Other tops, other ways that I can use it for accents on different outfits, okay? So if you're looking at that and you're like, spiderweb top, what in the world made her think of, because, you know, a spiderweb top, like a wearable spiderweb. Well, I'll be the first to tell you, I got the concept from somewhere else, from something that I didn't say a word about on our channel, because let's just be real, I had no idea if I could finish this project or not. But look at this. What in the world? Okay, now first of all, yes, I designed this spiderweb top. This is called Arachnades Curse Coat, and let me just be real and honest with you. I did not design this, okay? I'm proud of myself that I managed to crochet it. If you are visually impaired, it is in the color white, and it is a full-length coat, like shoulder. It literally drags on the ground. I bought the pattern from Hobbii, Hobbii, all the way over in Denmark. Look at this thing. It is huge. So I bought this from them. Bought the pattern, bought the yarn. The yarn that is used is their 8-4 cotton. It is a 100% cotton. I bought 2 packs of 10. I ended up using all but 2, okay? So if you're my size, I made size 2. I am 5 feet 4.5 at about 120 pounds. And so these are the size of the skeins. They're fairly small. About 88 yards now. They're affordable though. This is a machine washable. Oh, and the acrylic on the spiderweb top is machine washable. However, the Gala Premier is not machine washable. This is metallicized polyester. It likely will melt in the wash machine. Plus, I'm pretty sure if that little chain already came off, right, that's going to be a delicate thing. So I probably would hand wash it, or at least put it in a lingerie bag and wash it on cold, because you can just bet that these little chains could snag up on all kinds of things in the wash. Since this one already pulled out, they're going to be kind of delicate. They might pull out in the wash, so you definitely want to be careful when you're washing that. Okay, back to the Arachnades Curse. So this is where the wearable spiderweb concept came from, okay? I'm just going to be real with you. I saw this coat over there. Now, the cotton yarn is really affordable for 88 yards. It's something like $1. It's the more you buy, the more you save with them, okay? I got this on a really, really, really good sale. I got this cotton for $1.14 a skein. $1.14. It was crazy. I've never seen yarn like that. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 60s, but I'm guessing that was yarn prices from the 60s, okay? I felt like I was in a time machine buying that yarn. Craziness. Now, of course, if you live in the United States, there is now, I got this right before the tariffs happened, there is now a 15% tariff. If you buy from Hobbii now and you live in the United States, you will pay a 15% tariff. I think at $1.14 a skein, 15% tariff is still saving money, but you will have to decide. This is a DK weight, 100% cotton. You'll have to decide if you want to get that or if you want to get a cotton here in the United States, another DK weight cotton. I would say be careful about, substituting fibers with this one, but there are other DK weight cottons. This is a nice DK weight cotton through the Friends 88. I was pleasantly surprised with how smooth and how soft this cotton is. It's a lot softer. It's not a Pima cotton. Okay, let's be clear. You guys know I love Pima cotton. This is not a Pima cotton, but it's still really nice and it's smooth and it's definitely garment cotton. I would say for a DK weight, it's on the thicker side of a DK weight, right? I have certainly felt thinner DK weight cottons, okay? Like Knit Picks We Crochet has a DK weight cotton Animation, which I crochet with. I do think Animation is a little bit thinner, so that could change your gauge, but you'd have to decide if you think those are interchangeable or not. I don't know that they quite would, because I think gauge on this is pretty important. It's a wearable, it's a big wearable, and that, the more off your gauge is, the bigger your garment, the more stitches, you're going to be off. But you'll have to decide if you don't want to pay the tariffs on cotton. I totally understand. For me, I'm going to keep shopping at Hobbii for the sales, right? I'm going to watch for the sales and keep shopping. So I bought the pattern for the Arachnades Curse. And then when I got it, I looked at that pattern and I was like, first of all, the pattern is 78 pages. And I was like, 78 pages? Oh my God, right? Like that alone. I was like, 78 pages. And then I was going over the special, look at this thing. I was going over the specialty stitches of what you had to do. And it was like sextuple triples, septuple trebles, octuple trebles. And I was totally overwhelmed by that. And I was like, forget it, right? And it was like, V-stitch trebles, the whole thing. I was like, I can't do this. And so I literally set it down and was like, no, by the way, this Arachnades Curse coat, this is a paid for pattern. Okay, it's $11. So you'll have to decide if you want to pay $11 for it. It is paid for a pattern. So I really set it aside and I was like, forget it. I'm not going to be able to make that, especially not by Halloween. I'm not going to get it done. Forget it, right? Forget it. It's not going to get done by Halloween. I got other stuff I want to do. So that's when I decided I wanted to just make my own spiderweb top. I'm like, you know what? Just make yourself a tank top that's a spiderweb. You can wear it. It'll be fun. It'll go with your socks. It'll go with your skirt, right? And I'm like, just do your own thing. So I did that. Now, of course, when you compare the two, right? When you compare the two, my top's pretty amateurish, right? Compared to this coat. So anyways, though, I absolutely love this coat. It does, at me at 5'4" and 120 pounds, it does drag on the ground. It has these gorgeous, gorgeous fans at the bottom, gorgeous fans at the bottom, crochet fans. It has triple crochet, V-stitches, triple crochet. Now, if you can I can V-stitch, and V-stitches are fast, and so it really does go quickly. And then on the sleeves, look at these sleeves. Amazing, amazing, amazing. The sleeves are easy, so you get about to the elbow, and then, well, they put pineapple crochet, like a pineapple crochet doily on the end. So that definitely got a little more complicated. The whole thing, top or the bottom edge and the sleeves are all trimmed up with these picots. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, you know how I feel about picots. Yeah, a little time consuming, a little tedious. I did a lot of cursing, a little crying, right, doing all these projects. But in the end, they're absolutely worth it. It is beautiful. I'm really, really glad that I did it. I believe there's 5 sizes to this top. I'm pretty, or this Arachnades Curse coat.
Enter password.
Let's see, here it is. This is where you can buy it, $11, 5 sizes. I think I think it's a good pattern. For me, it was worth every penny of it. Honestly, the instructions are really good. Once I got over the 78 pages, once I got over Mr. Property Owner just texted me, so I might have to go in a minute. We'll see what's up with that. I hope not, but I might have to pause the video for his interruption, of course, right? Of course. But might have to go in a minute. But this pattern is worth it for me. The reason it's 78 pages is because they divide it up size by size. That makes a huge difference, especially for me using a screen reader. I wasn't having to try to wade through and enlarging it too. I had to zoom this thing in about 2,000% and look at like a couple letters of that pattern at a time on my phone to get this thing done. But I did it, and I'm super excited, super proud. But they actually divide it up into sizes. That's why it's 78 pages, okay? So it's like size 1, you go here, okay, you finish. Now you go to page 44. Now you go to page 73, okay? It's divided up very, very, very clearly into sizes. That makes all the difference. It really does. So don't be intimidated by the fact that you bought a book, right? Yeah, bought a 78-page book for one pattern, because it's really, it makes a big difference, and I really prefer that. Plus, there was lots of photographs, lots of pictures that were just close-ups, white on black, no clutter, nothing to, for somebody like myself who was very limited sight, it was good because I could really zoom in, see what was going on. So I think the pattern's worth it. I'm super glad that I did it. So anyways, this is the Arachnades Curse. This is what I have been up to. Sad story of the top, but it's finished. It's totally finished. Let's go put it on, my friends, okay? Let me pause the camera. Okay, we're gonna pause the camera, and then I'm gonna go put this on, and we will take a field trip out to the living room, and you can see the whole, and the tweed pumpkin is done. It doesn't have a stem, okay, but the tweed pumpkin is also done, my friends. So that is it. That's our final finish. It's Friday. We're gonna put the whole month of projects together, right? We're gonna put our orange and black striped socks, our shell and trellis skirt. We're gonna put on our spiderweb top, and of course, our Arachnades Curse coat. We're going to put the whole thing together so that you can see it. And of course, my friends, say hello in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know, are you going to, I kind of wanted to tell people earlier about working on this Arachnades Curse, but I was truly skeptical over whether or not I could finish this. Okay, I was like, oh boy, right? I was seriously cursing at these people. I'm like, oh my God. So I was skeptical, but it's done. I learned a lot, gained skills, as always, super proud of it. Let me know, are you gonna get the Arachnades Curse coat? Are you gonna make it? Okay, my friends, well, let me know what your plans are. If you celebrate Halloween, then happy Halloween. And if you don't, happy October 31st. And thank you so much for listening. Let me know what your weekend plans are, what you're doing, if you're going out or just cleaning, sleeping, catching up on life. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. And you know what we have to say, right? Creativity is for everyone, whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color, or you don't see at all. Creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or weaving or carving or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create. Thank you so much for listening. Alrighty, I gotta go. I think, yeah, sorry, it was kind of rushed today, but gotta take care of this. Okay, well, I will see you soon. You get to see the whole thing together.
Recording button. Double tap to activate.
There it is, a month of work. Yeah, 3 finisher Fridays put together. We started out with the black and the orange striped socks. Those are my own design. You can find them in a Finisher Friday. They're work toe up. You can find my shell and trellis black skirt, which I think you can wear the skirt and the socks anytime. And then, of course, yeah, the spider web top. What? Yeah, and the little collar out the top, the little like threads and the web, same front and back. So we got that. And yeah, we have So wear on top. What? The Arachnades purse. It is a paid for pattern from Hobbii all the way over in Denmark. $11 worth every penny of it. And look, she put pineapple doilies on the sleeve. What? Love this thing. Not super practical, but really cool. Look at that spider web on the top. It does drag on the ground for me. I'm not quite 5 feet 5, so you know, just keep that in mind if you're making it. And of course, we can't forget our pumpkins, right? We got our pumpkins to hang out with too. Y'all love these free pattern knitting crochet from Knit Picks. So alrighty, my friends, well, if you celebrate Halloween, then happy Halloween. But if you don't, then happy October 31st. We can go to bed tonight, say goodbye to October, and wake up and say hello November. So anyways, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, happy stitching. Bye bye for now.